In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making millions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might just sell credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/hidden. Protect yourself now at aura.com/hidden.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Strap in and get ready. This is the Wild Will Throwdown. We're your all-access pass to the world of short track racing, covering everything from regional results to national highlights. Each episode, we dive into upcoming schedules and bring you exclusive interviews with special guests from the heart of the motorsports industry. Now, here is your host, Wild Will Greenwell. Welcome, everyone, to the Wild Will Throwdown podcast, season number 5 with Indy Warrior Partnership. My name, Will Greenwell, the host of the Wild Will Throwdown podcast, and joining me on the hotline, one co-host today, Mr. Hawk Harold Adams. I tell you what, Harold Adams, I think Dalton needs the week off because he's still celebrating that win at Salem Speedway.
Yeah, I was wondering now. I guess he's still celebrating, still partying, or maybe he's still half drunk and don't know where he's at. But hey, at least he won, so congratulations, Dalton.
Yeah, no doubt. And Hawk Harold Adams, can you believe that everyone is back to school and it's August and temperatures are looking like they're going to trend to the fall months? And can you believe we are less than halfway through until we get to the month of September?
No, I don't believe it at all. I mean, we were just talking about the season starting up just a few weeks ago, right? I mean, and here we are now. We're talking about just a few more weeks left in the season. So it's crazy how it works.
It's hard to believe. And, looking at it now, this is going to be a big one, coming up to the fall months and whatnot. And, looking at some of the iconic events that's going to take place. We've talked about it every week here on the show, I think. And our schedule is getting busier and busier, and your schedule will get busier and busier. And people think, as you get through the racing season, our schedules get a little bit lighter. Well, that's not the case, because once we get to that end of the year thing, you're out helping me announce at Salem Speedway and some of the fall events. I know we got the huge 3-hour coming up. I'm going to be part of the broadcast now Tuesday through Saturday, so I got that coming up. So it's going to get really busy, but Hawk Harold Adams, we're going to recap where we were this past weekend, and we'll start with you. You were at the Speedrome Speedway.
Yeah, it was a special for the Ford Ovals. I talked last week about how they put on a heck of a show every week, so it's great that they have a big special this week. It was a Walker Mechanical Twin 25s, split into two groups, A and B, and it was really cool to see all the action there. With first one starting straight up, for each A and B, and it was pretty calm, and then the second one was inverted from the finish. So there's when it got interesting. And Carson Chapman in the two took the victory, and he didn't have to win either leg. That's what's cool about that.
Yes.
I think the first one he was fourth or third, and then the second one he was like third. So I mean, he just had to be consistent, finish up towards the front, stay out of trouble, and there you go. So it was really good there. And in the B, Braxton Turner took that in the 35 machine. Only been in the oval for a couple weeks. He's been mostly doing figure eight, but he's kind of giving that a break. So he went to the oval, and look, he wins the twin 25s for the B. So that was really awesome to see there.
Yeah, I didn't even know they were doing the twin B, to be honest with you. I thought it was just the Ford Oval, so that was pretty impressive to see.
Yeah, because they had enough cars. They even had they decided they wanted to start just 24 in the A and 24 in the B, and if there was enough extra, they was going to do just a C feature, which they did. So they had like a 10-car C feature. So there were some guys that gals that didn't get quite into the A or B, but that's just the way it was because they didn't want to have like 30 some odd cars in a special event, I guess, for them. Because they've been running like 30-car B features, and they've been kind of turned into kind of a wreck fest, and so they didn't want that to happen. Even though there was a few wrecks, of course, and got a little rough, but that's short track racing, right?
That is short track racing. I don't care where you go, all over the nation, right. It's going to happen. It's just the heat of the night and heat of the day. I mean, the heat and day and night, and we were brutal. I mean, Salem Speedway and you guys.
Yeah, we were texting back and forth, like we always do about updates. And, that's one thing we were talking about, how hot it was. It kept the crowd down, too. There's no doubt about it because we had, like, nobody there, like, when it started. But then, like, it was like people were waiting until, as late as they could where it got cooler and, like, more crowd came in, as the race was going on.
Yeah, same with Salem Speedway. Good point there. Everyone, I'm sure, was down on crowd count. Because of the heat, and rightfully so. We had 98 degrees, plus you add the other temps in it, all that weather jazz. But definitely over 100 degrees in the asphalt and the heat in that as well, and for these race cars. But I was at the Salem Speedway, fueled by the Hoosier Lottery and powered by the John Jones Auto Group, and it was a great night of racing. It was the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour rolling into town. Some of the fastest machines to go around the over half-mile 33-degree banking course at Salem Speedway. Cody Swanson won the main event. Him and Macheco, or Carson Macedo, or not Macedo. Oh, gosh, I'm going to draw a blank. Anyways, the number 24, battling with Cody Swanson there, and just an epic race, 50 laps, one caution flag. Came out later in the race. I think it was a 8-lap shootout, and it was a good one. And then, of course, looking at the Kenyon Midgets, 15 Kenyon Midgets on hand. And Harold Adams, I know you and I remember when it started to die down on car count, and that car count starting to work its way back up for the Kenyon Midgets.
Yeah, because we've always talked about how usually, like we've seen a lot in the past in the single digits, but it's pretty cool that they're getting that going again, and the car count really getting up there because they can put on a good show.
Yeah, Danny O'Gara picked up the win. Young talent. I mean, this kid had to come up to probably my waist, and he thanked who he wanted to thank, and that's what I preach all the time. These young kids coming up in the karts, wherever the case may be, they're learning how to thank their sponsors. They're learning how to present in an interview, and I think the parents are a big key to that, of helping these kids in the developmental stages with their words and whatnot. So it was a great weekend at the Salem Speedway. The next event coming up on August the 29th. Obviously, on our upcoming segment, we're not going to talk about next week until next week, but we'll talk about this weekend's events. But that is the next event at Salem Speedway, fueled by the Hoosier Lottery. And now we'll go into the topic of the week. Now, I will say Dalton Connor had the topic of the week, but, I want to revisit something, Harold Adams, and different penalties in short track racing. And I did a little more research today. I had a little more time in the office to think about some of this stuff, and I want to get your opinion on each one of these, and what do you think the severity of a penalty would be? And I want you to, if you're listening at home, think about the penalties and whatnot, and who has to go and judge that and whatnot. But penalties are used to keep racing fair and safe. Some of the most common penalties include, and we're going to talk about each one of these as a bullet point. First and foremost, we've talked about this on the show before, false start penalties. Obviously, a driver accelerates before the official start zone. This can result in being sent to the back of the field or a pass-through penalty if you're in NASCAR. But now, Harold Adams, we're going to talk about short track racing aspect. Usually now what we're seeing is a cone or a box, right? A restart box. So now we're seeing different penalties, including you get one chance, or if you mess up on the second chance, you go back a row. There have been instances where tracks say, you know what, for this year, you get one chance, you blow it, you're going all the way to the tail end because you want to play the games. You know how guys up front on the front row play games with each other. You know how that is. The lead car, he is the in-charge car, so he starts the race. He has control of the field. So, Harold Adams, what do you think about the penalties on the false starts?
Well, you brought up, sometimes they send a whole row back to the very, very back. I never liked that at all. I thought that was a little severe. I mean, yeah, they may be playing a game and blah, 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 but I mean, for them to go all the way from the front to the rear, I can understand send them back a row or two or whatever, like that. But all the way back, I never liked that part there. And like you say, it's really important on the start anyway. And a lot of times I'm anticipating on those restarts, I'll be like, okay, this guy's probably going to try to get a jump on him,
Yes.
And he will, and then they'll call it back and then they say something to him and then the other guy jumps. But like you said, the guy who's actually leading the race on the pole, he's supposed to be the one to start it. So if he gets that little bit of jump, I kind of feel like that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree totally 100%. And, I do agree with not giving the guy the extra chance. Here's my happy medium. You got one chance to get it right. If you don't, I don't think you should send them all the way to the back. Just move them about the second row inside. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think you should. And if both drivers want to play the game, hey, I've seen most tracks now move the whole front row to the second row. Well, why am I getting punished too? Well, it's both of your jobs to do a good job, and you're both going to suffer the consequences when you have to go. But hey, think about that third and fourth place car; they're happy as can be.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're gonna be a little bit lucky because there's so much bad luck in racing. You'll take all the good luck you can get.
That's it. Now, the next penalty. We're talking about rough driving, of course. Now, how many of us have seen at short tracks rough driving, whether you're mad at the guy? Yeah, just a little bit. So, obviously, definition would be if a driver intentionally wrecks or repeatedly bumps another competitor in an unsafe manner, officials may issue a penalty or even disqualify the driver. Now, this goes on the line of severity. The race director has to make that decision to whether, okay, was this intentional? Was this an accident? There's been a lot of controversy on social media about tagging the right rear of drivers. That was the biggest no-no back in the day. And today, a lot of race directors will say that is something they're not going to tolerate, is hooking someone in the right rear. Obviously, you're going to send them right into the outside retaining wall or the jersey barrier, whatever the case may be. But what we're talking about here today is, okay, penalties, severity. What do you do? Obviously, if another driver gets into someone, whether it's intentional or not, guess what that's going to do? It's going to fume that driver that person got into. Then he's going to retaliate possibly. How many times have we seen this?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, this is such a gray area. You know what you're talking about. Like you say, severity is there, judgment is there, common sense is there. So each incident is its own, right?
That's it. And
so, yeah, it's so hard to just say, this is the way it is, and there it is. You can't do it.
You got to look at the lines of intentionally harming as well.
Right, yeah, right. I mean, safety is one thing. So if guys really out of line, then you're going to have to do, figure out something to, make him think not to do that again. Right?
Yeah.
And other drivers.
That's exactly it. And I think if it should be, in my opinion only, if you bump the driver, spin them out, whatever the case may be, some tracks have the tap rule. That's another topic of the week. Okay, warn them on the radio. Now, if you're a driver who gets bumped and it may be an accidental, and you hook the guy in the right rear, or you hit him in the driver's door on purpose, or you jot across the track and destroy their car, obviously, to me, that's an automatic DQ.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. So now here's another thing that you and I have seen a lot at Salem Speedway. Here's another bullet point. Passing under the caution flag or not sticking with your choose.
Yeah, I don't know if I've hardly seen too many people not sticking to your choose. I think somebody once kind of didn't really make it known exactly which way they were going. It kind of crossed over the cone like.
Yeah.
And so they were like, hey, what are you doing? So most time I don't have to see that. But I mean, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. It's tough.
Yeah, and then looking through here, technical inspection penalties. Basically, if you can't make it through tech, which, Sportsdrome Speedway or Speedrome, with the Outlaws are different. They go through every time. But a lot of these tracks now, the short track level, will do a tech inspection at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I like how, like people talk about Sportsdrome, but I mean, usually we see the top 5 or whatever of a feature, especially Fords. They bring it right up there to the pit booth there in the front. And those cars it's like open tech. People can look and see if they see anything.
Yes, that's a good, you're talking about
right
post-race. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like that.
And they've found some things too where, a lot of times it's like, well, guys don't want to do that and start a big argument. But I mean, they have found some things that were in question and, things had to be fixed.
It did. And here's the one that you would like. We're not talking about rough driving penalties. We're talking about unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. This can include fighting, arguing with the officials. Who does that? Behaving improperly that can result in penalties, suspension, or fines. We've seen a lot of these given out in the Heart-Hold region, whether you're Brownstown Speedway, Speedrome, Sportsdrome, Salem Speedway. We've seen this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, tempers flare and people get hot, when it is hot. And, at the moment, in the heat of the moment, a guy's going to be mad because, they see dollar signs that they're going to have to pay for stuff. That's the way I always thought of it. People see those dollar signs. They're like, okay, I'm going to have to spend money this week. I'm going to have to work in the garage all because of this idiot. So I'm going to go over and punch him in the face. I mean, that's kind of the quick reaction, right?
Yeah. So what do you think your penalty would be on that?
Well,
how long are you suspended? What's the fine? What is the debate?
It'd be harsh. It'd be harsh. You'd be suspended a week or two and some, a fine or what is it that Mike likes to use a lot down there? What am I thinking? A bond.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I don't know
you're right.
how many tracks do a bond, but I always like that where you have to pay so much. And if you're a good boy the rest of the way, you get that money back at the end of the year.
But here's what you got to think about. I like what you said there. Suspend them, right? Hit them where it hurts. Here's where it really hurts them. If you were chasing a points championship, that's going to really hurt.
Yes, if you miss a week. So, that's something to think about. But, everybody's going to be arguing about, hey, well, you didn't suspend that guy for that, but there you go into that gray area again.
The adrenaline talks. A driver does not care at the moment, in the heat of the moment. His adrenaline will talk for him. But real quick, on penalties, helping ensuring driver safety, maintain fair competition, and preserve the integrity of the sport. Obviously, without them, races would be chaotic, making it difficult to determine a true winner. But, yeah, that's a great discussion today. A short show, but, we just want to kind of revisit penalties and whatnot, and I had to think about that a little bit, so I typed some stuff out, and it's something to think about. If you listen to our show, think about how would you punish a driver for the severity of rough driving, and think about that because there's a lot of ways you can go as a promoter and where to decide at. But we're going to take our first commercial break, thank our marketing partners for what they do here at the Wild Wheel Throwdown, and we'll be back with the driver of the number 33 Factory Front Wheel Drive, Kimmie Greig from the Indianapolis Speedrome. Race fans, in 2026, we celebrate 5 years of the podcast, The Wild Wheel Throwdown. And in 2026, we cannot thank our great marketing partners for what they do for us, including the Salem Speedway, the Sportsdrome Speedway, KKR, Indianapolis Speedrome, Elite Outdoor Services, Shears Drain Cleaning, Kentucky Clutch and Performance, Forklift Rescue, Diesel Boys, Harp fans, Hoosier Auto Racing fans, Flag to Flag Media, Roosters, Marshall Jaggers Racing, Derby City Recycling, Polk Brothers Racing, John McLaren Motorsports, Shane Wilson Lawn Care, Sean Smith Race Cars, Circle City Raceway, Victory Lane Frenchies, Oink Incorporated, Hadley Towing and Recovery, Code 3 Roofing, KJ Enterprises, The Smile Center, Clap Mowing and Landscaping, LaFever's Curbing, El Tarasco Mexican Restaurant, and S&R Towing. We cannot thank our beautiful marketing partners enough for their success and their support in 2026. PolkRacing.com is the place to buy parts for your street car or race car. Every purchase supports up-and-coming drivers. The Polk brothers have a lifelong passion for racing and are committed to supporting the racing community. Go to PolkRacing.com and use the code WILDWILL to check out to get 5% off. PolkRacing.com, the place to go for your everyday car needs and race car parts. And welcome back to the Wild Will Throwdown season number 5, partnering with Indy Warrior Partnership, giving back to homeless veterans here in 2026. Now on the hotline, the driver of the number 33 factory front-wheel drive from the Indianapolis Speedrome is Kimmie Greig. Kimmie, thanks for joining us this week, and we're happy to have you on the show.
I'm happy to finally get onto your show. I've been listening, all this time and was just waiting for my turn. So.
Well, you're here. You have made it.
Yes.
Only took 116 laps and one race to make it happen, but no, I'm just kidding. We've had you guys, the Greig family, and that's how we're going to start today. Will you tell our listeners a little bit about how you started racing? We all know, of course, your dad, of course, and how you started getting into the realm of motorsports, if you will.
Yeah, so my dad started racing back when dinosaurs were still a thing. Way back when. I think this is his 39th season out at the Speedrome. I'm the youngest of 5 girls, so I was the last shot at a son, and he was unsuccessful. So he actually bought our first junior fast kart for my older sister, but she played basketball, so she just didn't have the time.
Sure.
And I was like, Dad, let me do it. Let me do it. And he's like, you're literally scared of your own shadow. You're not going to want to do this. So we practiced, in the neighborhood and parking lots. We rented the track. Well, I went out and I actually won my very first heat race ever. So after that, it just kind of stuck.
No, that's pretty awesome. And your dad getting ready, of course, for the 50th annual 3-hour. I know he's busy right now, and we're excited to see how he goes. But he is definitely proud of you. I will say that. I've talked to your dad many times about you and your career and how he's excited, and you guys being a family, he being one heck of a coach behind you. So that's pretty awesome. So let's talk about the front-wheel drive. You move up through the ladder. Now you're in the front-wheel drive. What makes you happy about driving a front-wheel drive? Because you take so well to it.
Well, I've had my fair share of laps in like a CRA street stock and everything.
Okay.
And people always ask me, why do you go back to the front-wheel drives?
Sure.
And honestly, I feel like it's my bread and butter. Something about it. I don't know if it's because it's at Speedrome and because I have, millions of laps around the track, or if it's the cars themselves, but I just feel super comfortable and I just feel like that's kind of my thing. So I don't know how to explain it, honestly, but.
I won't lie. I actually forgot about you driving the CRA street stocks for a little bit. I won't lie about that.
Yeah, I actually only raced twice last year in a street stock, and it's just been a dust collector this year. I plan on racing at least all of the Anderson races with HRA next year.
Oh, excellent! That's a good news breaking story here for all of us here down here. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess it's because you are so good in that front wheel drive. Like you said, that's your bread and butter, and for the races that you have, that's kind of why we kind of skip over our minds a little bit and go straight to the front wheel drive. Because you have that wrap on that car that we know you so well in, that orange, the Greig orange. So talk about the Crazy Carl 116. We kind of mentioned it before we started talking a little bit today here on the podcast. 116 laps, you led all 116. I mentioned it to you. I don't know how you managed to get through all 116 laps leading and not get into trouble. And a front-wheel drive at Speedrome on that bull ring, it's hard to believe.
Yeah, going into the night, I was pretty determined because I've won the All-Star 200 twice, almost 3 times. I lost by a bumper that third time. And then I've won the Chip Branham 44 lapper. So that 116 was really just like that last checkbox, so I was determined. I went in to practice. I got fast time. in qualifying. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a good night. And I was like, I'm ready to start in the back and work my way up. Well, Jackson Mears came down and was like, hey, we're going to start straight up. And I was like, no, please. Like, that's a lot of pressure. I don't want to do that.
Oh,
But I did it. I was actually really nervous. I had some really good contenders, starting up there next to me. And my nerves were getting the best of me at the beginning. But, I got the jump and somehow I managed to work my way away from the field. And I put some laps on some other cars very early on. And I don't know. I just managed to keep doing it. I think I ended up lapping every single person besides the second place finisher, which I've done one other time, but
well,
I
that's
don't know.
impressive. And on the microphone, I always tell people how many ever cars you pass, that second place car has to pass them as well. So whatever you could get between you and that other car, that's going to be the bread and butter. But does your dad give you any tips or anything on how is your dad on race day? I have to ask you that when you race.
We've had our fair share of arguments, that's for sure. He doesn't go easy on me. If I do something wrong, he'll be sure to tell me. But when I'm strapped in, like the last words he says to me before I pull out on the track are go out there and have fun.
Yeah.
'Cause that's really what we do it for. I mean, I'm not going to grow up and be a professional race car driver. This is our hobby. This is what we love to do for fun. And that's what I do. I go out there and I have fun. I don't like the drama. I don't like the fighting,
Yes.
anything like that. I like to have fun on the track, come off the track, and see that I made a difference to some fans. Like last weekend after my win, having all those little girls come up to me after
Yep.
the race, and that's what I do it for.
So what is it like being a female in this male-dominated sport? Down here at Sportstrome, all over our region, I live closer to there actually. Now here in Jasper, I live kind of equally close to kind of you guys and here. But Jamie Bierman down here dominating the Fords, and she's a female. And you up there at the front wheel drives. What is it like seeing those girls' faces and just being a female that's successful in the front wheel drives?
It's tricky sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, especially when I was racing with like the CRA street stocks. I really struggled, I feel
Sure.
like, being the only girl. But now at Speedrome, I mean, when I started off in 2012, I was one of a couple girls, but I was the first girl to ever win a feature in the junior fast carts.
Wow.
I'm now worked my way to be the most winning female of Speedrome history. I actually hit 50 feature wins this season.
It's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And I'm very thankful that I've had these opportunities. But at Speedrome, I really feel like being a female is just special because now I look at these junior fast carts nowadays and there's almost just as many females in our junior fast carts as there are males.
True.
And I know they're kids, but it's just so nice for me to see that there's going to be girls coming up, the way I did, and that's not going to die out. And it's been nice even having Jillian in the Outlaws now.
Yes.
So.
No, that's excellent.
I try to just not be like, hey, I'm a female in the sport because I don't want to be treated any differently. But I mean, it is different. So.
Well, on this side, we have to ask because we know as media personnel, we know the truth that some of these people out here look at you and say, hey, there's a girl, let's cheer for her. Because even the adults now, they're like, man, we want to see a girl do good now in this division. We want to see them win. And it's pretty impressive. So when's your next race? Are you going to race the front wheel drive anymore in 2026?
Yeah, I actually have a couple more that I know for a fact I'm going to race. So the 29th, I believe, 2 weeks from now is championship night, and I'm currently third in points. So I'm going to finish that out. I'll race the Tuesday of the 3-hour, and then the All-Star 200 is October 10th. So I know I'll be at those three for a fact.
Well, you may be getting an interview by me because I'm doing all that during 3-hour weeks. So that Tuesday, you never know. I could be seeing you in Victory Lane there. Don't know, but we may see. But, talking about next year, the next question I have on my list here is what's next? You kind of mentioned that a little bit. So are you going to focus on the street stock in 2027?
Not completely.
Okay.
I'll still be in my front wheel drive part-time at Speedrome,
Good.
hitting up all of those big races, especially. And then with my dad and my nephew, both racing at Speedrome, it's just easy. Sometimes I'll bring the car just for a random race. But I definitely plan on going to every single Anderson HRA race next year. Maybe some different tracks. We'll see.
Well, I know you can pretty much get comfortable in anything you do. You have a great coach behind you and your dad, Greig. And So my last question is, of course, the most important, I say, and I preach all the time through all the racetracks that I go to and visit and announce at. Who would you like to thank on that number 33?
First and foremost, it would be my dad.
Yep.
Without him, I literally wouldn't be in this sport. I wouldn't have anything that I have, and I wouldn't have the knowledge that I do. He owns Circle City Junk Cars, so that's always
go.
the first one that I say. If anybody has any junk cars sitting around, they need to give him a call. It helps him, but it also helps my racing career, so you know. Innovative Slots, Sherco Group, Joe's Used Tires, Eagle Land Title, Edco Welding and Hydraulic, Popcorn World, and Johnny Greer would be the rest of them.
There you go. And the final question, I know I said that was my final question, but what would you like to tell all of your supporters out there that are listening?
I honestly just can't thank everybody enough. If it wasn't for the fans and my sponsors and my dad and my family, I honestly probably would have lost the drive to be racing. I've actually really struggled with that, kind of finding the spark, and this year I've found it again. And I think that comes a lot from the people I'm surrounded by.
There you go. Well, Kimmie, I thank you for taking the time to chat with us this week. Finally got on the show, but we couldn't think of any better guest to have this week than that driver of the number 33.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to 3-hour week and you being up here with us.
I absolutely looking forward to it. Hey, Wild Will Throwdown fans, Will Greenwell here. If you're into all types of racing like I am, then you need to check out the all-new Flag to Flag Media show each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to Flag to Flag Media, that's flag, the number 2, Flag Media on Facebook and give them a like, or YouTube and subscribe. They will cover all of your dirt racing needs around the region. Flag to Flag Media. Check them out. And welcome back to the Wild Will Throwdown season number 5. Harold Adams, it's hard to believe we're in year number 5 of this thing.
Yeah, like the season goes quick, so does every year here and on the podcast. So, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, where does the time go, right?
It just goes. And we're having fun. That's what we need to tell ourselves.
No doubt.
We're having so much fun. That was Kimmie Greig. I tell you what, she is dominating that front-wheel drive class and, any race she does, but she's not running for points. But Harold Adams, I'm telling you what, knowing her dad and the blood she has in her, it doesn't surprise me one bit.
No, not at all. I know several years ago when she first started out in front-wheel drive, it didn't take her long to get used to it, and she was dominating really pretty quick back in the day, when she was running all the time. So, and now she's, like you say, she goes out there and does all that. And so she is one tough customer. Like I say, she's got a good backing there.
Well, I'm glad she came on the show this week to chat with us. She's doing a hell of a job out there in those front-wheel drive classes, and excited to see her dad in the 3-hour coming up, and he's more slaps anybody out there. So Doug Greig going to be one to contend with. But now looking at our part 3, this is going to be our upcoming schedule. Harold Adams, you and I are going to be back together at the Sportstrom Speedway this week, Friday and Saturday. You know what I was just realizing? All classes are racing Saturday night.
Yeah, because it is like the Racers Reunion going on,
Yeah.
And it's fan appreciation. So it's going to be features only, and they like to bring all the divisions in so they can partake in all the fan appreciation stuff.
That's going to be great. WKLO 96.99 on-track autographs. Tons of racing, every class on the docket going to be in racing in action at Sportstrom Speedway. And Friday night, we're at karts. And look, the weather, of course, you're going to get a chance of rain here and there, a little bitty chance of rain. But Harold Adams, I'm loving where the temperatures are trending.
Yes, I know. It's funny to think about this, but what I seen the last thing was a high of 84, and 84 seems cool. I mean,
Yes.
Think about that.
No, I love it.
That's crazy.
I'm happy with 84 compared to this
I love
past
it.
weekend.
I love it. I'll take that for sure.
I'm telling you. And Salem Speedway Sunday is going to have the legendary karting club. They're off this weekend on the big track. They come back the following week. And here's another thing. Can you believe Anderson Speedway season championships Friday and Saturday?
Well, it's coming up, because Portugal's having theirs early next week also.
That's true. Wow, I cannot believe that.
Yep. Going to finish things off in August. And I think that's good because then you can have your specials and then like the points guys that don't have to worry about, racing for points anymore.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree. Plymouth Speedway, the Mini Wedge Championship Day up there. Of course, they race those mini wedges, kind of like a fast car. And here's a big one. Indianapolis Speedrome, the 30th annual Kenny Sizemore Memorial Street Stock 100 that will serve as the season championship. Ford Oval and Figure 8 season championship. Front-wheel drive season championship. INX Legend Car season championship. And the Mini Outlaw championship going to be take place this Saturday night at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Cedar Ridge Speedway, Jake's Memorial Race, regular divisions in action. And a big one at the Brownstown Speedway in Jackson County's 22nd Annual Hall of Fame Classic, the Northern All-Star Super Late Models, 10,000 to win. Also on hand, the Northern All-Star Modifieds, Crown Vics, and Pure Stocks going to be take place there at Brownstown. Lake Cumberland and Florence off this weekend, and we go back to Paragon Speedway. It's my buddy Kevin Bear's series, the Midwest Thunder 410 Sprint Cars in the MMSA Mini Sprints with the Super Stocks and Bombers. Lincoln Park Speedway has the John Dome Superstock Summer Spectacular with Kenyon Midgets, 410 Sprints, Bombers, and Modifieds. The Rock Castle Speedway going to have a big one for Hornets. It's the Hornets Gone Wild, 1,500 for Hornets, Crown Vics Hobby Stocks, KDRA Super Stocks, Crate Late Models, and Sport Mods in action. And if you're into the straight line stuff, the Ohio Valley Dragway, Bracket, and Outlaws on Saturday, and the NASCAR Cup Series and Truck Series going to be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The Trucks Saturday at 1:30 on FS1, and the Cup Series Sunday on the USA Network at 3 p.m. Well, Harold Adams, I tell you what, Dalton Connor off in the sunset, enjoying his life right now. He's taking the week off. But I tell you what a great show it was today having Kimmie Greig on the show. And, we're getting through the month of August. It's hot. I always crack up, too, because people say, oh, it's too hot out here. It's hot out here. Well, it is the month of August.
Yeah. I mean, it is the dog days of August, or of summer, rather. And so I don't mind it, because, as soon as this starts getting cold, I'll be like, man, I wish it was hot again.
Yes, exactly. We're human. We're like that. I love a 75 and sunny, cool breeze, no humidity, and fall. I'm excited for that. Knock on wood. I hope we do get a fall. Sometimes in the Midwest here, we go straight from summer to winter. We get 5 days of fall, so hopefully that's not the case this year. But Harold Adams, what about your closing white flag final thoughts here on this beautiful week of August?
Well, like I say, looking forward to the next weekend with the weather being a little cooler, so I'll be looking forward to that. And we got a full weekend, and like I say, me and you both will be there Friday and Saturday at Sportsdrome for their events. So looking forward to taking in the festivities, and of course it's Fan Appreciation Night, so it's a busy week for me getting all those hero cars ready.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're a hero for doing that. There you go.
Hero.
Yep, hero. And just support your local short track. That's my final thoughts. You'll hear that final thought from me a lot, but I think about that a lot. How many short tracks are closing around the nation? We need to support our local short tracks. Do not sit home and watch it on streaming. Actually try to be there and give your hard-earned money to the racetrack to keep it going. But just want to thank, of course, Harold Adams for coming on today, Kimmie Greig for being the guest, our marketing partners. Without our marketing partners, we could not be here each and every week. We couldn't have our merchandise. We couldn't do all that we do for you guys out there. Also want to thank the great fans. Without the fans, we would not be here for sure. The fans give us a place to race. They support short track racing. They support our show and our merchandise sales and all of that fun stuff. As far as I'm concerned, my name is Will Greenwell, and I will see you around the turn.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Taking care of a family means thinking about the little things that add up over time. The meals you make, the routines you build, the habits that help everyone feel their best. That's why so many families choose Azure Well. Azure Well offers vitamins and supplements focused on purity, potency, and consistency. Every formula is lab tested and designed for people who want confidence in what they're taking every day. Wellness doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it starts with small choices that become lasting habits. If you're thoughtful about what you bring into your family's routine, take a moment to compare what's in your cabinet to Azure Well's line of products. Join a community that believes in better, naturally. Visit AzureLivingWell.com to shop and learn more. That's AZURE livingwell.com. Discover a simpler, healthier way to shop for the things that matter. These products have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When your daughter's learning how to drive and says,
Papa, can I drive?
You say,
Híjole. Here we go.
But what you should say is something that helps protect your ride.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And that's where State Farm comes in, to help you choose the coverage you need, so you can relax until you hear,
Can we pick up my boyfriend?
Wait, what?
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.